All right, sports fans, how's everyone out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, I know that halftime between the Bills and Chiefs is wrapping up, but I want to take this time real quickly to talk about what we saw today with the Detroit Lions and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Ford Field in the NFC Divisional Playoff. Now, the Lions just won their first playoff game last week for the first time in 32 years, and they decided to keep that celebration going in the Motor City. They got a workmanlike victory today over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in order to punch their ticket to the Bay Area to face the San Francisco 49ers next Sunday in the NFC Championship game. The Lions never trailed today as they got the 31-23 win over the Bucks. And after being tied at 10 at the break, the Lions offense just took over in the second half as they scored touchdowns on three consecutive possessions. Now, quarterback Jared Goff was efficient as he was 30 of 43 passing for 287 with two touchdown throws. Detroit also had 114 key yards on the ground, with 74 of them coming courtesy of rookie Jameer Gibbs on just 9 carries. This Lions defense helped keep Bucks quarterback Baker Mayfield. They just kept the heat on him all game long. They forced a pair of interceptions from Baker. They also sacked him 4 times, and honestly, they harassed him all throughout this contest. Now, credit to the Detroit Lions because they just went out there and answered the bell. And they made the key plays all game long when they needed them. And that's what you need to do if you're going to go out there and advance in the postseason because your margin of error in these contests is so minuscule. We saw Amon-Ra St. Brown come up big today, 8 catches for 77 yards and a touchdown. Sam Laporta, who's out there on the bum leg, 9 catches for 65 yards. And make no mistake about it, Ford Field was once again noisy today. But I said this could be a possibility going in, and it looked like it happened. As to me, I felt like the Lions were more relaxed today, being that they got over that hump last week and got that first playoff win. Credit to Dan Campbell. He had his team ready to play. And I know people are going to say, well, you should be ready to play in the postseason. Very true. But you think how juiced up and how excited that this team was, this city was. And you come down from that high midweek, but then you got to turn right back around and get ready for the next game. And these Lions were ready to go. And I think that is definitely a credit to their head coach. On the flip side for the Bucks, it was the end of a solid season. And if you're a Bucks fan or if you're a Bucks player, you really got nothing to be ashamed of because let's keep it real. Nothing was really expected of this team coming into the season. This was year one of the post Tom Brady era. The Bucks had a ton of money in dead cap. This was supposed to be a rebuild. And at the beginning of the season, a lot of people were talking about the Bucks possibly picking top five, maybe in that Caleb Williams sweepstakes. But you look at this team, and first and foremost, Baker Mayfield just had the best season of his career. And now it's going to be interesting to see will the Bucks give him a long-term deal because it looked like, coming into the season he was going to be competing with Kyle Trask, won the job, and then of course Baker never relented. And I think for Baker Mayfield, the pressure of being the first overall pick, the pressure of going to the Cleveland Browns and trying to help them turn things around, sometimes it got the best of him. And I think the best thing for Baker, he went to Carolina, didn't work out, but he went to the Rams and really got his footing once again under the tutelage of Sean McVay last year. And I think that really sparked something in Baker. And you look at Baker right now, he's having fun again playing football. And I think that's transferring over into his play. So I'm looking at it right now, and I think the writing is on the wall that the Bucks and Baker Mayfield are going to work out a deal for him to come back and be the quarterback of this team in 2024. Now, aside from Mayfield, the Bucks do have some key free agents on this team. You look at longtime Buck Mike Evans. Did he just play his last game? You're talking about the statistical leader in numerous categories at the wide receiver position in Tampa. Devin White, of course, he became a backup player in the due to the emergence of KJ Britt. So more than likely he's probably done. But then you look at Levante David, Antoine Winfield Jr., who is playing some phenomenal football this year. All of these guys are key free agents, and it's one of those where the Bucks really didn't have the cap space last year. They should have some cap space this coming off season. So you would expect to see some of these guys remain in Tampa. But at the end of the day, this is a credit to head coach Todd Bowles. A lot of people thought that he was just keeping the seat warm until somebody else took the job. And of course, general manager Jason Light. I don't think he gets enough credit. He put that championship team together in 2020. The Bucks have remained formidable because let's not forget, Tampa has won the NFC South in each of the last 3 years. Jason Light has done a very good job drafting. They've done a good job putting in the pieces on the defensive side of the ball in this cover two scheme under Todd Bowles. And it looks like, you know what, they've got some pieces to work with on offense as well. It's just a matter of who is going to be resigned for this team heading into next year. But for the Lions, it's on to San Francisco and the NFC Championship game. Detroit is already a 7-point underdog next Sunday at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, but don't count this team out. Dan Campbell is definitely going to have his crew ready to play. Now, some very interesting facts right here. The Lions, who just won their first playoff game last week since 1991, have not won a road playoff game since 1957, which was also their last championship year. Coincidentally, that win came over the San Francisco 49ers. You think about the playoff history overall between the Niners and the Lions. You go back to 40 years ago, they had an epic at Candlestick Park, which came down to a missed field goal by Lions kicker Eddie Murray in the divisional round. And San Francisco won 24-23. But at the beginning of the season, how many people would have expected to hear this and say this? The Detroit Lions, yes, those Detroit Lions that became the first team to go 0-16 in a season. The same Detroit Lions that have been futile for so many years are now just 60 football minutes away from their first Super Bowl appearance in franchise history. I'll tell you like this. I'll ask one question. Will we see a wave of Honolulu blue next Sunday in Santa Clara? Well, the Niner fans are going to show up and show out, in their backyard. Make no mistake about it. But you're going to see some folks from the Motor City and the greater Detroit area making that trek west to support their club. And you're going to see some blue in the stands. And make no mistake about it, Dan Campbell's going to have his team ready to play. I'll tell you like this. Excuse me. And I'll touch on this 49ers Packers game tomorrow. But if the 49ers play like they did against the Packers last night, if they do that next Sunday against the Detroit Lions, they're going to be on the wrong side of the score. Dan Campbell's going to have his team ready to play. The Lions want to be a very physical team on both sides of the football. You look at their dangerous receivers and you look at the way that they simply get after you as they embody their head coach, Dan Campbell. But make no mistake about it, I think we are in store for a thriller come next Sunday afternoon in the Bay Area. The Lions and Niners, one of these teams are 60 minutes away, 60 football minutes away, that is, from representing the National Football Conference in Super Bowl number 58. So, folks, that's going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank all of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I'm signing off. I'm saying take care. Enjoy that second half with the Chiefs and Bills, of course. Have a wonderful day. Be good. And thanks once again for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.